This is Will Edwards here on the campus of Eastern New Mexico. We're joined today by guard Chris Wims. We're doing this in part of online LSC Media Day. Chris, how you doing today?
Doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Chris, what are your individual goals for the coming year?
Some individual goals as the senior point guard is to lead this team day by day. I'm really looking forward to playing with the new group of guys I have tons of help, and I'm looking forward to the season.
What are your expectations?
My expectations for this year is to win the conference championship and to go to the NCAA tournament. And yeah.
What would you say is the biggest change that Coach Siegler's brought to the program?
I would have to say the biggest change is the culture. Overall, he's changed everybody's focus. Everybody's competing every day. Everybody's just trying to get better.
What are you looking forward to most?
Playing for him.
Great, thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
This is Will Edwards here on the campus of Eastern New Mexico University. We're joined today by head coach Trey Siegler and assistant coach Tyler Wayman. Coaches, how y'all doing today?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Blessed to be here, man.
Coach Siegler, what are your expectations for the coming year?
Man, expectations, big word, obviously. You know, I think when it comes to this season, me being new here, a lot of these guys being new to our family, and then just the whole experience being new for everybody, my expectation is that we would just adapt every day. You know, one of our biggest mottos, one of our biggest, sayings every day that we're living by is just to compete every day. And, obviously that's something I hold over from my past and the guys that have put me where I'm at right now, my mentors. And so we're just trying to live that out. And obviously a lot of that's just adapting. These guys getting used to me getting used to fighting every day and improving a basketball program every day from the head seat instead of from the first assistant spot. And so, but my expectation is that with competing every day, that we're going to get better every day. And so, hopefully as the season progresses, by the end of this thing, we don't even recognize ourselves at the end of the season. So,
what are your goals for the coming year?
Goals, a little bit more focused. I think with this team and with my coming in and being new, the goals have got to be completely different than they've been probably for the last few years here at Eastern. And we want to win the championship. I mean, I want to cut the nets, in the regular season. I want to win the conference tournament, and I want our guys to be able to go into the NCAA tournament not as a hopeful, but as a possible host. And that's something that, from where I've come from, we've set every season to do. And my mentors, they talk about winning a national championship, not a conference championship. And so I've tried to speak about that every day to our team. And so if your goals are that high, hopefully even if you slip a little bit from that goal, you're still doing a lot of great things.
Tyler, what can you say about how the culture's changed since you got here?
Well, every day since I've gotten here, our guys have worked harder and harder. From the returners, having the expectations they did from coach coming in and myself and the success we've had, I really thought they bought in. We haven't really had any guys pushing back. Every guy, even from the newest guy to the freshmen to the returners, have really bought in and adapted to this mindset and have really taken off and made it their own.
Thanks, Tyler. Coach Siegler, what can you say about your top returners?
Pretty blessed with who we brought back. Obviously when I got the job, kind of had to sort through some things, let some guys go that were definitely talented enough to make a difference. But the guys that we retained, they are the heart and soul of what we got going on. I mean, they've been through the Lone Star, they've taken the hard knocks. You've obviously heard from Chris Wims, our returning point guard. Having him come back off an injury and being full speed is a total blessing. You got Javon Mumtaz, who brings a huge amount of toughness and shooting ability. Chauncey Hill's explosiveness and just his will to win is really special. And I've seen Chauncey, grow tremendously since I've been here. You got two returning forwards, Luke Lucas Bowens and Trayvon Hall, who are just kind of grimy, tough guys, military guys who bring just a different experience to what's going on. And so, I think all in all, with the people that we return, we can expect a lot from them, but just, general leadership from these guys.
All right, Coach. Without giving too much away, what can you say about your newcomers?
First, I really got to, compliment Coach Wayman. With us getting in late, Coach Wayman coming on staff, and even from our first conversation, he kind of jokingly didn't even know I hired him, So, I called him one night and was like, hey, did you call this kid? We need to get him, And so we've done a great job, I think, teaming up, and Derman Jennings, our second assistant, helped us recruit a great class. And the guys we brought in, I think, are a caliber that Eastern's not used to seeing in the last few years. You got Marquise Harris coming out of Compton, El Camino, averaging 20 points a game, and he's a prolific scorer, but he's also an unbelievable on-ball defender. You got LaMarcus Thompson coming out of Mount San Antonio, a very storied program in California, 6'3" wing that shot over 40%. Again, a scorer in his own right that can score in a multitude of ways. You got Chris Lewis coming from Lamar Junior College in Colorado, was a double-double guy, all-region guy up there in that area, and was known as a prolific rebounder, which we know in the Lone Star is the bread and butter of how we win. But again, able to bring Cornell Neal, a Division II transfer from Central Oklahoma, who brings leadership, right off the bat, and a guy that's been there, done that, put it in the book, and came in to be a leader right away to help Chris Wims lead our program from the point guard spot. And I just feel like, all the other pieces that we were able to sign, we got 2 late guys from Dean College out of New York. You got Sean Shelton, a 6'7" wing, who really is a 6'7" wing instead of the guys who think they are, But a guy that can play the 4 as well in that versatile 3-4 position in the Lone Star Conference that's so coveted every year. But he's a guy that brings toughness and an attitude and just a jagged ruggedness that I love about him. And then Joe Clark, we found out about him. He'd sat out a year, graduated, and he's one of the best leapers in the country. I mean, probably over a 40-inch vertical jump, and a guy that from the 2 and 3 position will put the ball in the rim very quickly. But again, his sophomore year up there at Dean went from shooting low 30s his freshman year to mid 40s from three-point line his sophomore year. So again, a guy that's put it in the book and been able to make shots from the perimeter. So proud of all those guys. So glad that they bought into the vision that we have here. And I just think that, we got tougher as much as we got more skilled and more talented. All those guys come from a background where nothing was handed to them. And so again, that Lone Star blue-collar work ethic, I think, is going to be embodied with all those gentlemen.
Coach Wayman, coming from the Heartland Conference, what is different about the Lone Star Conference from what you've seen, and what is similar?
Absolutely. Being kind of from the outside looking in, as a spot where I was at Rogers State, we had a lot of success in the Heartland. From the outside looking in, you always knew what was kind of lurking around the corner with the Lone Star. You knew that on any given night, anybody in the Lone Star could beat anybody. The physicality was unmatched by anybody. A lot of times in the Heartland, we play these cross-conference games, and that's the heart leading up to it. The whole week, you try to get your guys to realize that the physicality and the speed and the aggressiveness which teams play in the Lone Star is unmatched by anybody. You've got size, power, and agility that you don't see from many D2 programs, and that's been amazing to see so far, even with the guys that we had here, without having seen the other team, just to see that difference in which every team goes about it has been amazing. And one thing I'm looking forward to with schedule on Lone Star is to play Thursday, Saturday. In the Heartland we did that, so I feel like we have a little bit of an advantage in that I can bring that experience. You've got to have a plan on Friday to get guys recovered, get guys short notice. You've got to have a detailed scouting report that guys can buy into. Real quick, short notice, turn around and play Saturday. And like we know in the Lone Star, every game is a fight and a battle, and so you've got to have that ability to do that. That's what I'm looking forward to bringing as we get in the grind of the season, to bring that ability here and kind of use that advantage that we had that nobody else really has in this league.
All right, Coach, coming from Midwestern, do you have any big games circled on the schedule?
Man, what a trap question. I even told the guys, I was honest with our team here at Eastern, I don't know how those games are going to be, both at Midwestern and here. I have a lot of respect and love for those guys still. I've had a couple of those players call me in recent days just to wish us good luck on getting a season started and vice versa. So, I think in all those games it's going to be emotional like anything else. But, man, you look at the rivalries across the Lone Star, there's no game with Tarleton that's not emotional. There's no game at Angelo that's not emotional. West Texas, I didn't understand the Eastern New Mexico West Texas rivalry until I went to the wagon wheel football game and saw what that was like. So that, I think, is one of the coolest things about our league that people who aren't around it just don't understand, is that every game is a big game. And there's no place, there's no arena, there's no gym that doesn't have its own quirk and kind of emotional feel where, if you're not ready to play, like Tyler mentioned earlier, you can get beat by anybody or you can beat anybody. So, I think our Division I games I'm very proud of. Last few years at Midwestern State, it's been hard to get Division I's to play us. And so I'm glad we get to play at New Mexico at the Pit in front of hopefully 13, 14, 15,000 people, and then at New Mexico State. And so I'm ready to kind of renew some of those in-state Division II rivalries that have kind of in the past been a part of Eastern's history.
And you have couple years of experience in the Lone Star Conference. What can you say about the league overall, and what can we expect from this league?
You know what, Coach Haggerty, about this time of year, into the summer, was always looking at rosters. He wanted to know who people were recruiting, who they were signing, and as an assistant, I always kind of spaced out from that. I didn't like to do that, and partly the reason I like that is because I wanted to go in as I prepared to beat those teams and those programs. I wanted to have a fresh slate. I didn't want to bring in all the accolades that those young men brought, because again, the people that were able to sign in this conference are unbelievable. The Division I transfers, the JUCO transfers, and so now as a head coach, I've kind of had to flip the script a little bit, and I was looking at rosters a little bit more than I normally do. And what it speaks about our conference is the ability of these coaching staffs to recruit the top-notch talent in the country. I promise you, next year, if we jumped into Division I as a whole conference, that there'd be a few conferences that wouldn't want to play us. So what the Reisman family does at Tarleton, what Cinco Boone and David Lewis has done in recruiting, obviously what Nelson Haggard does every year with Andre Shaw and his new addition to their staff down there, Sam over at Commerce. I mean, the things that they're able to do, you got Kingsville, you got these people bringing in these recruits, it's unbelievable. So I think what you're going to expect from the Lone Stars to look more like a Division I conference than like a Division II conference. And I think that's not the style of every Division II conference around the country. I know the West Coast does a little bit of in-state recruiting. The East Coast, they have their in-state kids, but the Lone Stars, it's just one rung down, from the big time. And so I think that it's going to be fun night in and night out to see Division I caliber basketball played in every gym across the conference.
All right, Coach, anything you want to say to Greyhound Nation before we take off?
I'm really proud to be here, to be a part of the history here. I didn't understand the history that was here. And now that I've been around some of the coaches of the past that have come back and supported me and encouraged me, I'm very blessed to be sitting where I'm sitting. And so I think that what I want Greyhound Nation to know as we move forward is that we're looking to spark that back up. And I'm really ready to make our mark on the history book here at Eastern. And I think the team that we've already built is ready to do that. And so very blessed and humbled, but obviously very excited and high expectations moving forward, this group of young men, to see if we can really do something special and make that next part of the history here something worth looking back on.
All right, thanks, Coach. Again, that was Coach Trey Siegler and Tyler Wayman here with us on campus at Eastern New Mexico University.